Good morning. This is the morning moment for May the 7th, 2026, here on Following Him, the Disciple Life. And a minute or so ago, well, there it goes again. There was a dog across the street barking at me. He either does not like me being here or he's trying to greet me. I don't know if it's a he or she actually, but so if that interrupts us a little bit, I do apologize in advance. Hopefully, you can hear me over the barking when it occurs. Be consistent with The Chosen. Be consistent with The Chosen. The show The Chosen has definitely had some controversy around it over the years it has been airing, and personally, I think it's been unnecessary controversy. I think people have made controversy where there is none. Full disclosure in advance, I am a fan of the show. I love the show The Chosen. In fact, it is my favorite show, period. Like my favorite show, period. My favorite thing to watch, period. I think it's the best biblical adaptation I have ever seen. That is my opinion. I am definitely a huge fan of the show, but we're not actually going to be talking about the pros and cons of the show per se. Although I will add this. I will add this. So backtrack a little bit on what I just said. I do think that there's some stuff that gets recycled about the show that has been debunked over and over again, and people are not doing their due diligence, and they do seem to be just like reposting memes that opponents of the show have come up with over the years. There are definitely claims about the show, like that the show presents Jesus as being a mere human, or that the show presents Jesus as sinning or being flawed, or that the show is a Mormon show. That there is no Mormon doctrine in The Chosen. It is not the content itself is not produced by Mormons. One of the companies that used to work with, there were some Mormons that owned the company, but they had nothing to do with actually producing the show. So I do think there's definitely been a lot of slander against this show. A lot of people bearing false witness, sometimes passing on false witness, but they do not have the basically people being lazy and not actually checking out things, just automatically passing on something without confirming its fact, and that would be known as the sin of gossip and you know slander and such. But with the show, one thing, one thing I think we need, if you're going to be opposed to the chosen, be consistent. Be consistent. In Proverbs 20, verse 10, it states, diverse weights and diverse measures, they are both alike an abomination to the Lord. And we also have in Proverbs 20, verse 23, diverse weights are an abomination to the Lord, and dishonest scales are not good. If you're going to be opposed to the chosen, you need to be opposed to all of it. All of it. All of it. There was some sort of mini series or something a few years ago. I still haven't seen that called The Bible. You need to be opposed to that. The old classic movies, the Ten Commandments. Now there's actually two versions of that. And I think they were both what DeMille Productions. Cecil B. DeMille, I think was his name. But the one everybody knows, the Charlton Heston one, you'd have to be opposed to that. You shouldn't watch that. You would have to be opposed to all the old movies that they made about the life of Christ, which, by the way, is one reason I actually prefer The Chosen, because you can dig more into things. They have to do a lot of summarizing those movies, and there's stuff they never deal with that you can deal with in a show. Like when dealing with Jesus in a dramatic way, it works better in a show. But another discussion altogether. But you have to be opposed to all of it. King of Kings, wasn't there one called Jesus of Nazareth? Like all the old classic movies about Jesus and here's why I bring this up. I don't hear anybody criticizing those things. I don't hear anybody discussing. These things get replayed on television quite frequently. Around Easter, like around Christmas, these things get replayed. Wasn't there a movie called The Nativity at one point? I think there was one called Son of God, and I'm not seen either of those, so I can't attest to how good or not so much they are. But you'd have to be opposed to every single dramatic presentation. You'd have to be opposed to Ben-Hur. Ben-Hur presents Judah Ben-Hur interacting with Jesus when he's being taken to the slave galley. Now, that's not in the Bible, right? Um, but I mean, it's definitely when you have Jesus offering him water when he's being deprived of water by those that are taking him to the galley, and Jesus helping him out like that. There's something there very much in keeping with the character of Christ. So it's biblical in that sense. But you'd have to be opposed to that because that is not in the Bible. So if you're going to be opposed to chosen, and if you don't want to watch the show, that's fine. I would never say, "Well, you have to watch the show. You have to like." No, you don't. No, you don't. That would be binding something on you. I would have no right to bind. I personally think you should watch the show. But if you're going to watch it, don't watch it going in, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to like this. I'm going to, and have in the back of your mind, oh, I'm going to find the problem spots. I'm going to show people that I was right about this show." Because many of the people I see criticizing the show, they've never even watched the show. And I get it. Some things that people do are so egregious, you don't have to watch it to know it's egregious. You don't have to watch some movie with a bunch of adult content in it and say, well, you can't criticize it until you've watched it. Well, if I know in advance the movie is filled with bad language and unclothed people, I don't have to watch it to know it's bad. I know that if the contents are out there, it's known what the contents are, I don't have to watch it. But yeah, oftentimes people are making claims about this show, and it's not claims like that. It's claims about the contents that's not there. But if you're going to not watch the show, be consistent. And if you're going to be criticizing The Chosen, you need to be criticizing all the old Bible movies. You need to be criticizing any miniseries that have taken place. It needs to be all of it. The cartoon recently, which I still haven't seen, King of Kings, which I think maybe was based on something written by Charles Dickens. I'm pretty sure Charles Dickens is in it at least. But you need to criticize that too. So be consistent when it comes to Chosen. If you're going to criticize it, you got to criticize all of it. Thank you for being with me this morning. Lord willing, be with you here in a little bit. We do have planned to have the midday moment. We do these moment segments, morning moments and middays, Monday through Friday is the current plan. And Lord willing, also be with you today, being Thursday, for Thursday Thoughts. And shalom.